All right, looking at the Corvette, especially in the front, it's just like the Z06. It's really aggressive. It comes to the point kind of like a shark or a jet fighter. You see the slope coming down there with the hood. Underneath, obviously you got the splitter right there. Very aerodynamic. You got your LED headlamps here. They look really cool and really aggressive. And you can see the way the kind of fender flare goes up over, making it look even wider. Coming over here to the side, you got the tires. You got 20s in the front, 21s in the back. Of course, you got these chrome wheels. I like the black wheels, but that's just me. I would have completely blacked it out. You got the performance brake calipers. You got the huge rotors down there as well. And these are really wide tires. You got the black, obviously you got the black rear view mirrors. You got more air coming in here since this is a rear mounted engine. You got more air coming in here, giving it fresh air through the air vents. And I think it's a cool look. Also, you have your E-Ray tag right there. Coming around the back, of course, you got Corvette written across the back. You got your Stingray emblem right there. And one of the things you'll notice too is that they borrowed the engine from the Stingray, which is the 6.2 liter, but then they also borrowed more of the body from the Z06. You got your quad tailpipes in the back, and it's definitely a good looking Corvette in my opinion. Going over the engine in the back, since I can't show it to you, you do have the 6.2 liter V8 in here, which, combined with the battery, cranks out 655 horsepower, 15 less than the Z06, and 592 pound-feet of torque. This will go 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds, a little bit quicker than the Z06. It'll also do a quarter mile in about 10.5 and a top speed of about 183 miles an hour. So this thing will go. It's not your typical hybrid. It's not a hybrid for efficiency. It's definitely a hybrid for performance. Coming in here to the interior, of course, you got luxury materials. You got the soft leather going across the dash. You got the nice stitching, which I think is a really good look. And you feel like you're sitting in a spaceship. Of course, with the steering wheel, you got the Corvette emblem. It's a racing steering wheel. You got the leather, you got the carbon fiber, you got the stitching. And of course, you do have the marker up top so that you can make sure you're centered. You got your paddle shifters on the back. And of course, you have all your controls for change up your display, your infotainment center, anything like that there on the steering wheel. But I do like the look of the steering wheel. Like I said, it's a racing steering wheel. Here you got some storage in the center console. It's very small, a couple USBs. You got your wireless car charger right back there. Underneath the nice leather, of course, you got the knob to change your modes and everything like that. And coming down here, everything's in a vertical line. You do feel like you're sitting in a jet fighter, but this is for space. Of course, you got your heated seats, your cooled seats, your heated steering wheel, air conditioner, everything like that. So space is definitely optimized, and I actually like it sitting in here. Here on the infotainment center, it's very responsive. You got your Apple CarPlay, your Android Auto, your E-Ray performance you can check. You can go into settings. There's all kinds of things you can do here. You got your My Chevrolet, listen to your podcast. You do have your PDR, which is your timers if you want to see a 0 to 60 or a quarter mile time. Let's go into the E-Ray specs for it. And there you got engine output, electric output. Definitely love the graphics on this. Here you got your fuel saved, how much charge you're using, so you can see how much the hybrid is helping you on this. And over here, we're changing the display. So you got all the options depending on what mode you're in and what you can see. You got your 0 to 60 timer. You can change the way the whole setup is. Of course, you can put the map on there. You can also put what radio station you're listening to on there, miles to empty, and also a lot of the performance measurements. If you just want to keep them there on your display, you can do that as well. Here's changing the modes. We got weather, we got the My mode, we got the touring, and I love the way this changes and gives the animations. Here you got your sport, when you want some more aggressive driving, and here you got your track for when you're really ready to put the pedal to the metal and take off. I love the way Chevy did that. I would be playing with it constantly. And of course, as you change that, the display changes. So up in the display right here, you see, you're in track mode. So you see it has more of a track where your RPMs are up at the top. tells you what gear you're in. And this is a dual clutch 8-speed automatic transmission as well. Definitely a great layout. I think Chevy did hit it out of the ballpark just sitting in there. It's a comfortable car. For the space, you can definitely take a longer road trip, though you probably won't have a lot of space for luggage, so you'll definitely have to come back home then. All right, everybody, it's time to take this baby out and see what she'll do. Obviously, this is a new vehicle, so I'm not going to give it the business like I would if it was a private owner's car, but we can get a good feel for it. We'll see how it's like in traffic. We'll also see what it's like briefly on the highway, and we'll see if we can put that electric motor to use. It says charging's on, we're at 100%. So one of the things I noticed at startup, this thing sounds really mean, but then it kind of dies, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't keep that rumble like a normal Corvette. So I'm thinking what's going to happen when we actually get out to open road and give it gas, then the exhaust will kick up a note. One of the things I meant to mention about why this is supposed to be your child's first car, and I can't believe I forgot about this. You can set it to where it starts up on electric and it'll stay that way for about 3 miles. So, you know, if they have a job either at the Gap or, you know, laying sod somewhere in the summer, working construction, whatever their job is, if they have to be up early on a Saturday or Sunday morning to go, they can ease out and you'll never hear them, and it won't disturb your beauty rest. So it's got that going for it. That's what I like to hear. I do have the electric power on. Obviously, I'm giving it enough gas to override the electric power. And it tells you on the dash how much horsepower the electric battery is kicking in. I know what part of the problem is. I'm not in sport mode. There we go. Now we're cooking. All right, I will say there is a little bit of cabin noise from the outside as far as road noise and wind noise, but you're in a Corvette, so you're sitting low, you're on wide tires, it is what it is. And it's a convertible on top. So as far as takeoff, this is everything I would expect it would be. I'm just sorry we can't do a 0 to 60 in it. Kicked it back into the touring edition or touring mode, and instantly you could feel the suspension loosen up, the steering loosened up. This does have the 8-speed dual clutch automatic in it. So shifting is pretty much seamless. I think we're in 6th gear right now. We're gonna kick it into track now. The pretty yellow. There we go. So we were in track. And instantly you felt how much harder it was shifting, and definitely the suspension is more. We're feeling the road more. You can feel all the nooks and crannies in the road with how tight the suspension is. This is definitely a sharp-looking vehicle, though. I was a fan of the Z06 when I reviewed it. And this is on the same level, and for the price it's even cheaper than the Z06. Base on this with no options is like maybe 110. This particular model with all the carbon fiber and all the options on it, it's pretty decked out and loaded. I think the MSRP on this one's like 148. So, you know, with the Corvette, you can make it as option loaded as you want, or you can make it as bare as you want. So Chevy does a good job about giving you a lot of things that you can adjust to meet what particular price point. Like I said, if you just went in for a basic entry level, 655 horses for less than 110K is not bad at all to get a 2.5 second 0 to 60 car. Now, like I said, it does have a Z button, so you can max out everything. You can max out the engine, you could max out the suspension, basically everything, to make the steering as tight as you want, whatever your personal preference is. The heads-up display actually looks really good on this too, because you actually can see the G's, and I'm sure you can adjust it to different ways it looks, but you actually can see the G-forces on there as well. I'm definitely a fan of the 24 and 25 Corvettes. The Z06, and like I said, I haven't test drove or I haven't reviewed a basic Stingray, but you know, like I said, this E-Ray takes the same engine as the Stingray, and obviously adds the 1.1 kilowatt per hour battery to it. I just got to stay in the good graces of Hendrick Chevy so I can get a hold of that 1,000 horsepower beast next year. I do like the steering wheel as well. I liked it in the Z06. I like the shape of it. I like the leather with the carbon fiber. Makes me feel like I'm in a legitimate race car. I would like to hear a little bit more engine note at the lower RPMs like we're at now, without having to gun it and letting it sound off. But with it being a hybrid, like I said, startup is amazing. It sounded awesome at startup.